The Toronto Blue Jays have missed out on another fourth outfielder free agent. So the question that fans are now asking is, are they going to trade for a fourth outfielder, go for an internal option, or look for another free agent? So we're going to break that down and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? Nick Gosse here, host of Jays Digest. Peter won't be able to make this one today as he is busy with school and work and things like that, but I got it for you today, and it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a bit of a shorter one as we have some news that broke recently earlier today, that is, that Robbie Grossman has officially signed with the Texas Rangers. As you can see here by Joel Sherman, Robbie Grossman receives a major league deal with the Rangers for $2 million plus $3 million available in performance bonuses. Now, before we even get into that contract, which is very, very good for the Rangers, who are looking like a kind of a scary AL team, maybe a sneaky team, we'll talk about the Blue Jays. Now, obviously, at $2 million, the Blue Jays could have matched this offer. I can almost assure you that they did match this offer, plus the $3 million in performance bonuses, and they may have even offered more. But as we've discussed several times on the channel, what ended up being the difference maker, we assume, it hasn't been released yet, is the playing time. Obviously, in Texas, he can get offered a much bigger role, potentially a full-time starting role, and if not that, then just a lot more playing time. I would assume he's going to be starting for the Texas Rangers, but for the Blue Jays, he would have only been offered a fourth outfielder role. Though, as you could see last year with Raimel Tapia, that would have ended up being, usually the fourth outfielder for the Blue Jays, given their injuries and the current outfield, which includes Kevin Kiermaier, who's injury-prone, George Springer, who's injury-prone. There would have been a lot of room for Robbie Grossman to play, but clearly he held out until he could get a major league deal, and that was with the Texas Rangers ultimately. Am I sad as a Blue Jays fan about this? Absolutely. This was the final guy that we kept. People were saying this would be the final piece of the puzzle for the Blue Jays offseason. I saw a tweet of some guy saying that his Blue Jays ranking goes from offseason rankings go from A- now down to a B because of simply the fact that we don't have an official fourth outfielder. And obviously we have Kevin Kiermaier in center, obviously, but Whit Merrifield is the other potential option. But let's get into some more screenshots here. Now, this is from Thomas Hall saying, well, I guess the Blue Jays will have to explore trade possibilities for a right-handed outfielder. Now, this is a thing that we kind of discussed in the intro there, is are they going to go with an internal option, or are they going to go with a potential trade option or another free agent? Now, we'll discuss a potential trade option later on in this video, but for now, I think they're probably going to stick with an internal option or even a current major league option, which could be Whit Merrifield, as we'll discuss in a moment. But Whit Merrifield could obviously play center field last year. He's a average to slightly above average defender in the outfield. But the question then is, you kind of want him at second base full time. So you have this saying, Josh Goldberg saying, Jays seemingly heading into the season with not much depth behind Springer and Kiermaier in the outfield. Followed by this guy saying, regardless of your opinion on Robbie Grossman, I don't feel great with Whit being the fourth outfielder behind Kiermaier and Springer, who are hardly Iron Men. Fangraphs has Nathan Lukes as the fourth outfielder right now, but I don't know what good another lefty is on the bench, and that is a phenomenal point. Obviously, going into this season, going into the offseason, we were talking about how we wanted more lefties in the lineup, and we addressed that with Kevin Kiermaier and Dalton Varsho and Brennan Bell. But now the question that is being asked is, if Nathan Lukes, who is currently on the 40-man roster, does slide in as that fourth outfielder, is that really addressing a need that we, need? He doesn't match lefties. He hits left-handed. So I don't think, that's really what we need. We need someone who matches lefties, i.e. Robbie Grossman, or players that we, have missed out on already. But again, there's not much you can do with a player like Robbie Grossman if he didn't want to come to the Blue Jays because of the playing time, which I think was ultimately the reason. When you look at Robbie Grossman here, before we get into that, this guy also said, hearing the Blue Jays have a solution to who the fourth outfielder would be. Reportedly, Randall Grichuk is returning and will make his grand return. Even did a jersey swap, and he put, obviously a picture of Robbie Grossman Randall Grichuk in a Blue Jays jersey. That is obviously a joke. Let's make that very, very clear. That is a joke. Randall Grichuk is not back. I just found that pretty funny that obviously, Randall Grichuk would honestly be a pretty darn good fit right now. Pretty darn good fit for the Blue Jays as a fourth outfielder. But obviously that's not, it was just a joke that he made. But now looking into Robbie Grossman's stats, obviously he had a very poor year last year hitting, but he absolutely mashed lefties. And that was the strange thing going into this offseason, was everyone was wondering, would the Blue Jays, or would Robbie Grossman want to, or be able to get a full-time role with, the poor stats that he put up last year? Obviously in 2020 he had a phenomenal year, he had some great years, 2017, 2018, and 2021 he even had a phenomenal year with the Detroit Tigers, hitting with a 115 OPS plus before last year. So a bit of a bad down season last year, obviously split time between Detroit and Atlanta, but the question that, was asked is, and was wondering about myself and Peter as well, was he going to be able to get a full-time role somewhere. And clearly he did with the Texas Rangers, which is why he ultimately didn't go to the Blue Jays. Now, that brings us into the next question, which is who is left for the Blue Jays to take in as that fourth outfield spot. And, we discussed it a little bit. Nathan Lukes, I don't think is a great fit considering the fact that, he's a left-handed hitter. Do we have someone like Otto Lopez maybe looking to take? Obviously, he hit really good for the Blue Jays last year in very small sample size, but could he be someone who takes the spot, or do they look for someone else? Now, there's a couple of other players here. For example, Jurickson Profar, which is right here. Jurickson Profar hit for a 111 OPS plus last season with a 3.1 WAR. He is a great defender. He is a solid hitter last year. He has up and down years. However, he could be someone that the Blue Jays go for. Obviously, he hits lefties fairly well. He hits very well in general. He's a phenomenal defensive player, and a lot of people have been speaking about Jurickson Profar in the off season. So it's, do you guys think, I'll ask you that question now, do you guys think that the Blue Jays should look into Jurickson Profar in this offseason as a potential, acquisition? Because the question is now, again, that's the main question left of this offseason is what we do with the fourth outfield spot. And obviously Ross Atkins has been getting asked a lot of questions, and he hasn't really been, or at least haven't seen that he's been directly asked about the fourth outfielder spot. But, if he does get asked, I'm sure he'll go with the normal answer of we trust our internal options, but we're always looking to explore other options. And in tomorrow's video, you'll actually see what he had to say specifically about some, potential offseason acquisitions, which we'll break down with Peter tomorrow. But I don't know. It's very interesting. Is Jurickson Profar a guy you really want to give up or go ahead and get? Who knows? Is that, would he want to be, or would it be okay being a fourth outfielder? Who knows? It kind of depends on, what he wants to do. But then you look at someone else like Kyle Garlick, who absolutely mashes lefties, and a guy that Peter has brought up a few times, most recently playing with the Twins, where he hit very well last year, especially against lefties. But obviously you can see his career stats here. Is Kyle Garlick a guy who the Blue Jays are going to go to acquire? And those are kind of the other external options now that I've been seeing on Twitter and that we've discussed about here a little bit is Jurickson Profar, who I don't think is very obtainable at all, and then Kyle Garlick, who could potentially be obtainable in the future or even this offseason via trade. Kyle Garlick is an interesting name to look at. He's very, very solid, but the question is, again, the big thing now is whether there could be a fourth outfielder that wants to be, a fourth outfielder. Obviously, we gave up Raimel Tapia for free. We didn't pursue him. We didn't try to re-sign him. He was let go. He was DFA'd. Would he be a good option for the Blue Jays right now, or would he be a better option than Kyle Garlick? I don't know. However, Kyle Garlick's a bit better of a, hitter, a bit better of a player, I would say, as a whole. But Raimel Tapia did do a very good job last year, and I know a lot of you guys were asking me, on Twitter, on our Discord, whether or not the Blue Jays should go out and try to, get Raimel Tapia back and have him as the fourth outfield spot. But he does not hit lefties very well. He doesn't hit for any power. He doesn't field very well. And some arguments can be made that he kind of, helped cost us the wild card game. So, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to talk about, an interesting thing to see, and I want to know all of your thoughts in the comment section below. So make sure you comment. Let me know what player potentially you think should take that fourth outfielder spot, or maybe what prospect you think should take the fourth outfielder spot. But that'll wrap up this video. It was a bit of an interesting one, just one topic today, as Peter will be back again tomorrow. I just wanted to cover the Robbie Grossman news and see what you guys think about who should be next, because Robbie Grossman was kind of the last domino to fall in the offseason. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 7,000 subscribers. It means the world. Your support has been great, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Thanks.